Hey everyone, so today we're going to be looking at all of the best AD carries and ranking them with their build and their rune options for now, so you can literally just watch this video and you'll have everything you need to know to jump into a game. Before we do get into that though, I did ask Deadly, who I think is top 10 on EUS right now, what his top ADs would be, and this is what he said. There's a link to his Twitch and Twitter in the description, by the way, so definitely go check him out. But his number one was Draven, and he thinks that is the best blind pick for solo queue. You're a lane bully. If you win your lane, which isn't too hard either, then it's pretty easy to win the game after that. You get more gold than anybody else because of your passive, and if you win your lane, then you are going to have a lead and you are going to cash in at least once probably during the game. You're going to hit like a truck with that lead, run at people with rapid fire and get long range crits off and kind of win the fight before it even starts. Number two for him is Vayne, the highest damage output AD. Should be weak early but isn't really, and at level 3 with press attack you can start to win trades if you're good. Rage Bait also makes her spike too much, and he thinks that makes her the strongest champion in the game at that point at 2 items, which he says is messed up for a late game champion to be so strong at just 2 items. Kai'Sa is number 3 for Deadly, best solo queue AD, because you can play her how you want to. So you can chill and you can play with a passive support to farm up, or you can go aggressive with a Galio or something like that, but you can do both. You have good damage spikes when you upgrade your Q from Doran's Blade, Storm Razor, and Pickaxe, and you can pretty much 1v1 any AD carry if you get isolated Q damage on them. He thinks especially Kai'Sa is good to play if you have pretty decent mechanics, so you can attack move well and you can kite during fights. Number 4, he actually said was Varus, which surprised me, but he thinks he's good damage and he can win lane really hard. He wouldn't pick him every game, but normally it's if Draven is banned, because it is a very similar pick. He has more range, but he's also more reliable to lock people down and fall back on using his ultimate if he is behind. You're still going to be spiking at 2 items, which he thinks is really important for an AD carry in this meta. So those are Deadly's top picks. Let me know what you think of this. I thought it'd be kind of cool to bring in a challenger player to give his ideas, but leave a comment down below if I should do this more often. Before we jump into the rankings, a lot of you know that I went to Insomnia with Samsung to promote this monitor that I use, and it's so good, so I'm going to talk a bit about it today. It's a QLED gaming monitor, and I have the 49-inch curved ultra wide, and I've never seen anything like it. I'm going to give you a little insight into behind the camera. So it's QLED, right? Quantum dot technology. So it's a richer, clearer, more immersive screen basically. By the way, if you have never played on a curved screen before, you're probably going to think you're not going to like it, but trust me, it is mind-blowing. It's cleaner, you see everything properly, and honestly, I don't think I'd actually ever go back now. Like, curved is amazing. This one is a 1800R panel, so it's almost like an IMAX experience, like a cinematic viewing if you watch a film or like if you play a game using the whole thing. Now, I know what you're thinking, right? How can you play League with the whole thing ultra wide? Well, I don't, right? This has easy boxing, which means that you can separate the screen. It's effectively a double monitor setup within one screen, two 27 inches next to each other, and you can actually split it like that. One cable, no bezel in the middle, no fuss. Use it as 2 screens if you like. Stretch it across the whole thing. It's completely up to you. I have like the game in the middle. I have like a build on one side, for example, like music on the other, and I never have to tab out of League. I can just look over and see it. The display is actually a dual quad HD 5120 by 1440 resolution, 120 Hz as well, which makes it really smooth. 4 millisecond response time, which is great. It's got a 3001 contrast ratio, which is obviously nuts, and we all play too much as well. So an amazing part is the built-in eye saver mode. It minimizes blue light, it eliminates flicker as well, so if you're up late gaming, then you have this built-in system to protect your eyes. There is a link down below to go and check this out properly. The one I have here is a C49 RG9, and honestly, I do recommend it. This is just a much cleaner way of doing it, and if you do full screen something, it's honestly, it's mind-blowing. It's like a real immersive experience. Let's get into our solo queue ranking now, and these are going to be our tier 1 champions to start with. You could pick them every game, and you could do well with them. So number 1 for me is going to be Vayne. I think she's just a bit too strong at the moment, and honestly not as difficult to play as she used to be. We've already said quite a bit about Vayne in this video, but one thing I do want to add is you have really 2 big spikes in the game. The first spike is when you get your ultimate, and then your ultimate ranks after that, because it halves your tumble cooldown, right? And that is going to be what lets you chase people, fight people properly. It's your stealth, it's more damage, it's like repositioning, and also your mobility. The second spike though is your rage bait, right? You get to that in the game. If you're ahead, you will start to shred everybody. Even if you're behind, you actually stand a good chance to come back into the game. And I think that's why she is going to be number 1. So number 2 is going to be Jinx, and this is especially if you're below platinum right now. If you're plat or diamond, you can still use this, but especially at lower ranks, Jinx is just so good. Lethal tempo also helps you get that minigun stacked up. It also helps you fire out 3 rockets really quickly if you go for that, and also inspiration secondary. Jinx herself is just really good because of the resets. Basically, there are lots of different things here, but the 2 main ones are the resets and the tower plate. Her damage is quite high. She's easy to play, but the resets make that even easier because it gives you that move speed, so you don't really have to kite properly, and just 1 kill will probably net you another one afterwards, and so you get more gold. The tower plates as well, you sit there in minigun form, you right click, very skillful I know, but you will shred these plates down and you will get more plates than any other AD, left alone. Maybe Tristana can match it, but that's about it. Draven is pretty much the same as well. We do actually go sorcery most of the time because we just want more damage and press the attack. Now, you can take Conqueror, you can even take Kleptomancy if you want to, but press the attack is the most common and it is kind of the easiest. There isn't much to add on top of what Deadly has already said about Draven. He is just a lane bully and he will get more gold than pretty much anybody else, which means that he can snowball harder than anyone else. He will always have an item lead and be able to use that item lead to nuke people down. Last in our tier 1 champions then is going to be Kai'Sa for me, and I am a Kai'Sa main, so I'm a little bit biased, but I honestly genuinely believe, the same as Deadly, that you can pick her every game and she isn't going to be bad. You can get straight in the lane phase a little bit, but our runes have changed for that, so we're going press the attack. Similar reason to why Vayne is going press the attack. Build-wise, we are back to Stormrazor because upgrading your Q is so strong. You can go Infinity Edge first if you really want to. It does a similar thing. As soon as your Q is upgraded, that is when you really come online. After that, you're going to have a little bit of a dip, but rush to your third item as soon as possible, and then you spike again really well. You have enough attack speed and you can start kiting people around and become really difficult to kill. Into our tier 2, and these are still very strong, but something is going to be letting them down just a little bit. So like Ashe, for example, she is running lethal tempo at the moment. She's really strong, a really good counter to a lot of champions that don't have a direct way to get on top of you. Things like a Lucian and a Kai'Sa, really, when they try and dash into you, you volley and you run away, and you do have the range advantage. Very strong in the lane phase at shutting stuff like that down. She has an arrow to fall back on as well. Her damage isn't the highest though, and that is why she is tier 2 right now, because you put her next to something like Jinx, and Jinx can carry a bit harder, but Ashe is still really good. Miss Fortune has a different build at the moment that I'm sure most of you guys know about now, with Press the Attack and Blade the Ruined King. The synergy is really good. Basically, you activate your W, you get your Press the Attack online straight away pretty much, and then you're doing the percentage damage from your auto attacks. When your W times out and that buff is gone and you're waiting for it, you fall back to normal Miss Fortune with some lethality, with your Q and with your ultimate. So Sivir is also really good at lower ranks, same as Miss Fortune, for different reasons though. Sivir doesn't really have to know how to play the lane phase, I guess. It sounds weird, but you W key the wave, it disappears, you push endlessly, get some gold like that, and you don't have to play against the enemies. It's really hard to mess up a Sivir lane. You're going to be ultra safe. You have your spell shield, you have your bouncing in the range, you don't have to get that close, and then you scale really well with your crit build. Twitch is a bit different. He isn't very safe. He probably isn't as easy to play either, but I think I do have to put him in tier 2 because he can hard carry games pretty much better than anybody else. The lane phase is what lets him down a little bit, but get him to late game and he will snowball out of control. Press the attack though is really good for winning lane, and if you do get ahead, then you will be able to nuke everybody down. Inspiration tree also helps with that a little bit, but this is one way you can assassinate. You can kind of carry yourself, snowball around, stealth around, and if not, just wait at the back of a team fight and just kill everybody. Last one in tier 2 for me is going to be Ezreal, and he did get nerfed with the double tier build kind of going away. So we have two different builds you can run. First one is you can go for a very normal like man immune CDR boots, Blade the Ruined King, and go for basically just AD, like a proper AD carry Ezreal. The other one though, as you can see, build 3 is like Sorks, Iceborne still, but you get Ludens, Gunblade, GA at the end, but you can also get Death Cap. This really turns Ezreal into AP halfway through the game, and it makes your poke and especially your W damage and your ultimate damage go through the roof. Let's move on to tier 3. This is where most AD carries sit because these are good. They are like regular. You can climb with them. That's great, but they have some obvious downsides that you'll have to play around. So Caitlyn is going to kick us off here, and Caitlyn has really high range. She's ultra safe, and she can definitely bully the lane phase. And the idea with Caitlyn is that you push and you use your range to take tower plates and poke people. If you can't do that, then it is a bit of an issue, and you won't be able to fight as well as other AD carries either, or duel other ADs. Lucian is in a bit of a rut right now where I think I actually maybe have to put him a bit lower than this, but I really don't think so. When you're good at Lucian, you can carry. That's the difference, but it's just a lot harder now. You go press the attack, like runes and stuff haven't really changed. We've got inspiration secondary, so you can bully a bit harder in the lane phase. One build that I will point out though is build 4, the last build here, rushing an Essence Reaver into rapid fire and basically just going crit Lucian. This is something that a lot of higher elo AD carries are doing, especially in Korea, because it does actually have more damage. It's just a lot harder to play. Jhin got some buffs last patch, so he is going to be here as well, middle of the pack again. He's actually pretty good though. Jhin's damage is never going to be that high. In the lane phase, it's really good. If you get a lead, it's going to be really good, and then a late game, it's going to be really good as well. But if you don't get ahead early, he is kind of there for more than just damage. You have your traps, which were buffed. You have your ultimate as well to snipe from range. You've also got your W to get people and to lock them down in the first place, so you can actually start a fight. Zyra is another one that maybe could be a little bit higher than this actually, especially when paired with a Rakan. Could probably shoot up maybe to tier 2, at least top of tier 3. Zyra is really strong with her root. She has some really good damage, but it mostly comes down to her W. When that steroid is active, you will actually shred people. Especially late game, it does a percentage like bonus on top of the attack. So when you get late and you're critting like for 100%, this is why you go 100% crit on Xayah, because with your W active, you will perma crit for a lot more. Now, Kog'Maw is also going to be here in our tier 3, and I think Kog'Maw is highly underrated. Like, he could be a lot higher if you pair him with a Lulu or if you pair him with a duo. Lethal Tempo is going to be at Keystone, and one of the builds I want to point out here is the second one where you go Wit's End, Runans, and Guardian Angel. Kog'Maw is so hyper-reliant on items, though. When you complete your Blade and then your Rage Blade as well, and then your Wit's End, like, you will noticeably jump up in power, and he is actually quite hard to play against. It's just very easy to dive on top of him. Last one in tier 3 is also very much like that, where Varus, you can just jump on top of him and you can kill him before he can really do anything. The good thing with Varus though, and I would put him higher, but I think he's just like a little bit too unreliable right now. But if you're good with him, you can win your lane phase and you can snowball out of control. His ultimate is kind of like a guaranteed kill if you use it properly, especially if you've blown their flash already or you have a little bit of a lead. Nobody really expects his damage, which is great. You have Wit's End now as well, the same build as Kog'Maw, where you will shred a single target properly. But the later the game goes, you don't rely on crit. You can't really burst people that hard, and sometimes you won't have the time you need to stack up your Rage Blade. Now, tier 4, there are only 2 champions. If you'll notice, Tristana's not here and neither is Kalista. Both of these could move higher, but the problem they have at the moment is they kind of have to win the lane phase, otherwise they just aren't going to be that useful. Tristana's strength is being able to nuke tower plates down with her explosive charge, and also using pressy attack to dive in on people and just absolutely nuke them off the face of the earth. The problem with that though is if you can't dive in and you can't do that, then other crit champions are just going to outscale you and just basically do a better job than you. Kalista is the same, right? If you win your lane phase, then it's great. You're going to be really hard to shut down. You can kite better than like any other champion in the game, but you still have a really wonky mechanic with your spears. There is a reason though that people are still playing her in high challenger, because she can be amazing. She can bully people and you can't really duel her properly, but if you get behind on Kalista, you're pretty much boned. So that is going to be the video. Thank you very much for watching. Let me know what you do agree with, what you don't agree with. I'm sure there'll be a lot of people who will put their champion a bit higher, but I think this for solo queue, for general solo queue, is about where everyone is. Also remember to check out the Samsung monitor. The link is going to be down in the description. Thank you again to them for sending me one. It honestly genuinely is amazing, and I had a lot of fun at the event. Thanks for watching until the very end, and for now I will leave you with the robots.